Shabbat
Shalom, everybody. Hello.
Shabbat
It is
shalom.
it's nice to be with you on this fine Shabbat morning. This is an unbelievably fabulous moment for us. It has been 2.5 years since we have been able to pray together in this space at this time, and we are still working out the kinks. So since it has been 2.5 years, our sound is a little bit off. In here, our sound is a little bit off for sure on the live stream. If you were watching on the live stream yesterday, it was definitely off. We think our lighting is a little off. And we're going to
I'm a little off.
Yeah, we're a little off. We're always a little. This is not new. You know that we are a little off. We are also using lots of new tech, which we were not using prior to our time. Last time is we have live stream, so our live stream is on. So that is you see our screen behind you. We are live streaming currently at this moment, and we have our owl, which we've been talking about, which is sitting right here, and we are going to try to use while we will be studying our Torah, do our Torah study. It is off right now, so anyone on Zoom cannot see us. But if you are watching us on our live stream, you can see us. The Zoom will turn on only for the section of the study section, and we'll turn it off. So if that makes sense, that's all the introductions for the morning. But it's very exciting, and so I think clearly we should start our morning with a little Shechianu, thanking God for bringing us this very special moment together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Blessed are you, our God, who rules the universe, who brings us to this very special moment that we get to share together now that we are back in our chapel, live, and on our live stream, and hopefully praying that the owl is going to work like it's supposed to. So we're going to begin our service like we usually do. Please find your siddur should be under your seat. If you do not remember, it should be underneath there. And make sure you have the one that says Shabbat on the cover, because we were using different prayer books, weekday ones, so make sure that the cover doesn't say weekday and festival. Make sure that it says Shabbat on the cover. We actually had a couple of people who had wrong ones last night, so it was a little confusing. Make sure you have the correct ones. And we're going to begin on page 170.
מודה אני לפניך מלך חי וקיים שחזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה רבה אמונתך מודה אני לפניך מלך חי וקיים שחזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה רבה אמונתך
Rabba emunateh.
do that. רבה אמונתך. You know, when I tried to do that on Zoom, I went like this, but there's like a 3-second delay from when I'm singing it to when you guys respond. So I'd go.
Yeah, this is much better. This is much better. Our Nisim B'chol Yom, our daily blessings, but we'll actually be able to alternate our paragraphs together on page 175.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasech v'bina lehavchin ben yom u'ben layla.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin metzadei gaver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish harumim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten layayef koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavir sheina meinai utnuma me'afapai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani ben chorim.
Amen. Baruch
sure.
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Oh, that was nice. That was fun. Pizkei de Zimra. We continue 183.
Baruch she'amar v'haya ha'olam.
Baruch Hu.
Baruch Osev Reshit.
Baruch Omer ve'oseh.
Baruch Gozer Mekayem.
Baruch merachem al
Baruch
haaretz.
Merachem al habriot.
Baruch meshalem sachar tov l're'ah.
Baruch Chai la'ad v'kayam la'netzach.
Baruch podeh matzil Baruch Shemo.
Blessed is the one who spoke and the world came to be.
Blessed is the one.
Blessed is the one who continually authors creation.
Blessed is the one whose word is deed.
Blessed is the one who decrees and fulfills.
Blessed is the one who is passionate towards the world.
Blessed is the one who is compassionate towards all creatures.
Blessed is the one who aurores the reverence.
Blessed is the one who exists for all time ever enduring.
Blessed is the one who redeems and saves. Blessed is God's name.
Baruch atah Adonai melech mehulal
Bat
batishbachot.
Yishbachot. That was fun as well. We're going to continue now with Shochen Ad, middle of page 192.
Shochen ad maharom v'kadosh shemo v'chatuv ranenu tzadikim Adonai laisharim navatehila b'fi sharim titalal u'divrei tzadikim titbarach ובלשון חסידים תתרומם, ובקרב קדושים תתקדש, ובמקהלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל, ברינה יתפאר שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ, ברוך אתה אדוני. אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות, אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך אלכי העולמים.
194.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, והולמה דברך ירתה, וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון ויומייכון, ולחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם לא מהמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה. מן כל ברכתה ושירתה,
ושמחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעולמה, ואמרו
Amen.
Amen.
The Baruch Hu, our call to worship 195. Together we stand.
Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach. HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Please be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or vorech choshech, oseh shalom, uboreh et hakol. We continue with Ahava Rabbah 198.
Ahava Rabbah haftanu, Adonai Eloheinu, chemla gedola v'tzera, chamalta aleinu. Ba'avur avoteinu ve'imotenu, shebatchu v'cha, ב'talmidim chukei chayim. והערננו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחל לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש ולא ניכלם ולא ניכשל לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך
הגדול
והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
201.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
202.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי ביתיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בטיל תכלת. והיה לכם לציצית
וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תצורו
אחרי
לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Emet. Continue with our song of redemption, Mi Chamocha, on page 204.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. שירה חדשה, שיפור גאולים, לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צאו ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובטחנו ממך, יהודה וישראל. עלינו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני. גאל ישראל.
Amidah 205.
אדוני שפתי תפתחו פי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh HaKol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ואהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, בנאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל.
Kedusha 208.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, הכתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech kol haaretz, Kevodo. Adir Adirenu Adonai Adonenu Madir Shimcha Bechol Haaretz. Baruch Kevod Adonai Mimkomo. Echadu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Malkeinu Umoshienu Mehu Yashmienu Berachamav Beinei Kol Chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem Yimloch Adonai Leolam Elohai Zion Ledor Vador. Hallelujah. Ledor vador,
Ledor vador,
ledor vador,
ledor vador, ledor vador, nagid god lecha.
ledor vador,
Ledor vador,
ledor vador,
ledor vador,
ledor vador,
nagid god lecha.
ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. ושמך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש, לא ימוש לעולם ועד. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גול לך.
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור, נגיד גול לך. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Continue silently now until from here page 210 through page 219. When you're finished, please be seated. We continue on page 214.
ועל כולם יתברך ויתרומם, יתברך ויתרומם, שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד. ועל כולם יתברך ויתרומם, יתברך ויתרומם, שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד. וכל החיים יודוך סלה, והללו את שמך באמת, האל ישועתנו ועזרתנו, עזרתנו סלה. ועל כולם יתברך ויתרומם, יתברך ויתרומם, שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, הטוב שמך, ולך נאה להודות.
It was nice on Zoom, but this was nicer.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is nice. We continue with our Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for reading the Torah, which can be found on page 244.
אין כמוך ואלוהים אדוני, ואין כמעשיך, מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו ושלום.
Please stand.
על הרחמים היטיבה ברצותך
את
ציון, תבנה חומות ירושלים, כי בך לבד בטחנו, מלך עולם ונישא עד עולמים.
246.
כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. Yerushalayim.
248.
Baruch
Shenatan Torah, Torah.
Baruch Shenatan
Torah, Torah.
Le'amo Yisrael B'Hidushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Gadol Adonai Iti Neromema Shemo Yachdav.
Please be seated. We're going to chant Torah before we do study. So we're not on the Hakafah yet. I don't know. We're not I don't know. We're working on the numbers on the COVID numbers, and we're going to see if we're going to do Hakafot. We're close. We're close. Those new glasses, by the way. Those new? Those are very nice. Yeah, thanks. All right, nice. So we're going to be starting with Torah chanting first. We kind of feel like we were always rushing that, so we don't want to rush Torah chanting. So we're going to do Torah chanting first, and then we'll have study afterwards. So we are in the Torah portion of Naso. You can start to find it if you'd like. So it's we're back in the chapel together. So no more page numbers. Page numbers are over. Friends, you had a moment for maybe page numbers or conversation about page numbers. Although we can't mute Harry because he's here in the room. So who? So well, we're gonna. It might hoot
in
actually.
a moment.
It actually might hoot. Sometimes it does hoot when we turn it on. So we're on Naso, which is in the book of Numbers, and it is chapter 4, verse 21. If you need assistance. So you can either just look for it in the Plout and find it if you'd like, but it's also in the book of Numbers, chapter 4, verse 21, although that's not the section that the cantor will be chanting. That's the beginning of the Torah portion.
Chapter 6, verse 22.
Yes, he'll be chanting that. He'll be chanting the way end of chapter 6. So if you actually want to find chapter 6, go to the way end. Or you actually can go to chapter 7. I am actually usually joke about this. You actually can do this. Go to chapter 7 and then go back a little, and that's where he's going to be chanting. So I don't know what. I just heard something. Was it an owl? So yes. So it's
622.
622, which is the way end of chapter 6 in the book of Numbers. So way end of chapter 6. You can actually go to 7, like I said, and goes back up because you're right there, because it backs right up to it. So who would like to do the Aliyah and actually do the Aliyah? Please, come. You both want to do it? Both your hands went up. You want to come?
Yeah, bring your book. I don't have the...
Yeah, we don't have the sheet. Yeah, just bring your book with you. You both come. Come. 250. Yeah, it's 250. 250.
Was that the time, Harry?
You cheater.
Look,
You're a cheater.
622. It's all English.
Ya'amdu Malcha bat David ve
Rovin Moshe ben David.
Reuven Moshe ben David Lalei Torah. We're on page 250 if you'd like. That's where the blessings are.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Barach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל אהרון ואל בניו לאמור, כה תברכו את בני ישראל, אמור להם. יברכך אדוני וישמרך. יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונקה. יישא אדוני פניו אליך ויעשהם לך שלום. ושמו את שמי אל על בני ישראל ואני אברכם.
יהי רצון. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. יישר כוח. יישר כוח. Do we have the left? No, it's okay. Yeah. You're trying to get it centered. Yeah. I don't know how it works. Let's see. See if it works. Oh, is it on the? It's on the L. It's on the L. All right, good.
Just put the camera on, no?
Yeah.
Or do you not have to do that?
Yeah. It's working. What? Yeah, let all people in. So here's view. Yeah. Oh yeah. There you go. And you can hit. I don't know what that is. Don't hit that. That's fake. That's a. Yeah, you. Yeah, but this person, that's a crasher. We haven't had a crasher in a while. Hey, can you see us? Oh yeah, we heard you.
Shabbat shalom.
Hey! You had E of little faith. See that? It's in a little bit of. See that? It's the regal hops. Woo! Yeah, Linda and Jay. Can.
Shabbat shalom.
It's working. What's that? It came back to what? Oh, really? Oh, well, just don't touch it. I mean, yeah, that's. It moves with the sound. Oh yeah. Let's see. We'll put that here.
We're still figuring it out.
Can you see us?
So we can see Cantor right now.
Great. Well, that's good.
Yeah. And then that's like sort of the main two-thirds of the screen, and now we see the
Yeah,
congregation, and now we see you, Rabbi.
Oh, see, it's an album. It's supposed to do a 360 view of everything. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It's not moving. When I speak, it should move to me. It's not moving to me now? It should move to me when I speak. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
It moves. It moves. So this is so cool. So let's see. So like someone's out there say something.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
Marcia. I see. Is that Robin?
power of the
Hi, Robin.
who started.
Hi, Katya.
Yeah, you see, all right, they see us. I'm so excited.
Let's make this hit the center.
Yeah. All right. It's the owl. Woo, woo. I'm so excited. What?
So do you see, or just want, do you see us or are you just hearing us?
We see you. We see you. We see you. We see you. What
The
we,
congregation doesn't see you, but because you're on the screen, so we see you. But we're going to work on
yes.
trying to get
We're going to try and get a screen here. We're going to try and get a screen here, and then that way everyone will see each other. That's going to be the next step. We're going to get a screen in here. So step by step. But this is working so far. Yeah. And there are people, and the people on live stream are also on live stream. So if they don't, yes? Well, you'll also come to shul, but just in case people are not comfortable coming to shul still, then you'll have this, and we can communicate with everyone. And we can. No. Right. And also, by the way, I don't know if you can tell, it looks like an owl. Did you see it? The faces, see those little eyes and the nose? See that? There's no Torah portion. We're just talking about the owl the whole time. I'm going to teach you how to say owl in Hebrew. You know how to say owl, by the way? It's one of the best Hebrew words. You know how to say owl in Hebrew? No. It's yenshuf. Yenshuf. It's a good, doesn't that sound like an owl? Yenshuf. It sounds like a... All right. We are, let's do some Torah actually, huh? Since this is a Torah study. I'm just so excited about the owl working. I'm besides myself here that it's that it's working. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, we are going to we're actually going to study. So we're in the Torah portion of Naso, which is not too deeply yet into the book of Numbers, and we are there are a bunch of different things we're going to look at. My plan is to get to, there are 3 things that we can possibly look at. My goal is to get through maybe 2 of them. So that's the plan. So let's do our blessing, now that we're together particularly. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. All right, we're going to start on chapter 6. So chapter 6:1 is where we're going. So we're in Numbers 6:1 is where we're going to start. 6:1. You guys hear that, Linda and Jay?
Ian's on too.
Oh, Ian! Yay!
Hi, Ian. Hi, everybody.
He's home. I see his blinds. He's home.
Hi, everybody.
Can you see us, Ian?
I can.
All right. Can you see all of us?
I can.
I'm
Everybody smile.
Yay! All right. Good. Okay.
Good to go.
Good. Okay. So, Linda, do you want to start reading for us?
I do not have a Torah book.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
I'll warn you.
Robin's gonna take your space just for now until you guys.
Fill your shoes, Linda.
I'm sure you can do that and more.
The Eternal One spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, if any men or women explicitly utter a Nazarite's vow to set themselves apart for the Eternal, they shall abstain from wine and any other intoxicant. They shall not drink vinegar of wine or of any other intoxicant. Neither shall they drink anything in which grapes have been steeped, nor eat grapes fresh or dry. Throughout their term as Nazarite, they may not eat anything that is obtained from the grapevine, even seeds or skin."
Thank you. All right. So I put us. We're right in the middle of a Torah portion. So we're in the Torah portion of Naso, right? Naso has a lot of very interesting parts. The whole first part of Naso is accounting of the Levites. The second part of Naso talks about a continuation of cleanliness, like what are clean situations and unclean situations, not as in like physically clean with soap, but ritually and spiritually clean. The third part is a very complicated and extremely ugly section that I actually kept this as the third part. If we have time to get there, it's just I hate it so much that I don't like discussing it. But it's a discussion of an adulteress and how they are accused, and it's a horrible system in which I would like to keep in third place for the possibility of not even discussing it. But it's in there. And then the fourth part is something called the Nazarite or the Nazarite Law. And I want us to discuss it this morning because it seems to have come out of nowhere. And so I want us to be able to dissect it. So these four verses that we just covered, I wanted us to be able to glance at. So we have the usual opening, right? Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe le'emor, right? God speaks to Moses and says, speak to who? Who is being spoken to? Everyone, right? So it's everyone. So even though the Torah portion begins with Levites, and we know that sometimes certain groups get spoken to, this is everyone. So no one's free from this. Okay. So now everyone's being spoken to, and it says if anyone. Now it says man or woman, by the way, which is also fascinating because usually who's being spoken to? Men, and men only. Not only is it just the men, the women aren't even in there. Like it's just spoken, and the presumption is it's just men. There's not even a qualification that women are being spoken to. So the Torah goes out of its way. Ink in the Torah goes out of its way to mention that both men and women are possibly part of this. Okay. So if a man or a woman explicitly utters a Nazarite vow to set himself apart from God, there is these rules. So now let's talk about what this is. Yes?
What is Nazarite? Why is it capitalized? What is that?
Great. All right. Let's talk about it. So if anyone, man or woman, explicitly utters a Nazarite vow to set himself apart from the Lord, right? So that means they're going to separate themselves. So they're making a vow. And so vows come into a very big conversation. So let's talk about, to slowly answer your question, let's talk about what's a vow. A promise, yeah?
In this, where it says, set themselves apart for the eternal, not from the eternal.
Yeah, for, as in like a special group. Like a special group that's like under the wing of God. So we're going to talk about that nuance and the weirdness of that nuance too. Yeah.
I think a vow is more than a promise, it's a commitment. It's something much bigger than just a promise.
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of an oath. Yeah, it's a really big deal. It's an extremely big deal, particularly in the more traditional Jewish world. So, yes?
I'd say a vow is an obligation that you accept and assume onto yourself that you didn't have to do.
Yes, nice. Yes. You're fully accepting onto yourself this internal, gigantic level of a promise that you're going to decide you're going to fulfill, and you're taking it upon yourself, right? So that means, by the way, that also means like that's open to anyone, male or female or anyone in the Israelite community, because if you're going to decide to take this onto yourself, then you're going to take it on. You're going to take it onto yourself. But so if you're going to take it onto yourself, why does God care? Like, or why do I care? Like, why do I need to know what you're promising yourself? Like, who cares? Why is it such a big deal? We promise ourselves stuff all the time that we either keep or don't keep, whether it's what we decide to wear, or if we decide to eat or not eat, or diet or not diet, or how we drive or how we don't drive, or how we decide to clean something or not clean something. Like, I promise I'm going to clean that next week, and then we never do. Or I promise I'm going to start a diet, or I promise I'm going to stop eating carbs. I promise I'm going to start eating carbs.
I eat carbs. I just don't eat gluten.
Whatever. Doesn't count. So, yes. Well, it doesn't have to be a higher level. It doesn't say this. It doesn't say it has to be. It doesn't say what it is.
What
It doesn't say you're only allowed to do this particular vow. Like, it doesn't say that.
No, but it's still, it's, from what I'm
Yeah.
look further on, it's a vow that they're taking very, very seriously.
Yes.
It involves a lot of things that they have to do.
Yes, there are a lot of intricacies that now you have to follow. Okay, great. Okay, yeah?
Yeah, it's not saying anything about the vow that you're taking. It says the other obligations that you assume once you've taken a vow.
Yes.
There are like collateral, obligations that you're taking on that you don't pledge. You just, once you do it, you've got those too.
Yes. If I vow to stop drinking wine, well, let's not use that one because it's in here. Let's say if I vow to stop eating chocolate, right? That's my vow. But now, right, I have to add in the Nazarite law system, the other components because I put myself into the Nazarite window. So not only do I have to not eat chocolate because I said I vowed I wasn't going to eat chocolate, now I also have to fall into the other 3 sections of what Nazarite law means. So, does that make sense? If not, I'm going to give you an example in a few minutes, but not yet. So,
I think the example.
yeah,
They're saying you can't drink. Not only can't you drink, you can't take it, you can't have the grape in the field.
right. Okay. So let's hold the vow concept a little bit longer. Let's hold off on it. But now let's look at verse 3. So it says, he/she, right, shall abstain from wine or any other intoxicant. He shall not drink vinegar of wine or of any other intoxicant, right? Neither shall he drink anything in which grapes have been steeped, nor eat grapes fresh or dried. And through his term of a Nazarite, he may not eat anything obtained from the grape or anything like that. So clearly, grapes are off limits, clearly, because it says it like 50 times. Yes?
This has the sound of fence around the Torah. Perhaps the origin of it. Because they don't want you to get, the book says you can't get drunk.
Right.
It says you can't even get close to getting drunk. You can't even have raisins.
Right. Because if you do, you might fall down into the category of breaking your vow. Yeah. So interesting that you're putting a fence around here. Why do you think there might be a fence around here? Like if you're going to make a promise, isn't it good sometimes that there are other fail-safes to keep you within that promise, right? And so now it's almost like God is adding one fail-safe to your already promise you're making yourself. I'm not eating chocolate, but now if you're making that vow, God also says, all right, I'm going to add some fail-safes. Fail-safe 1, you can't walk near a grape, right? That's fail-safe 1. So, yes.
Is this beginning to start to imply the Erev?
I think that one could throw in the Eruv into this. I don't think this is the origin of Eruv. I think origin of Eruv was a little more of last week in terms of spacing, like actual physical spacing. But you could throw in the concept of distancing yourself from something. I think Eruv is more like literally physically keeping yourself. This is finding a way to keeping yourself within the bounds of your promise, right? So it's almost like if I'm swearing off chocolate, what's the first thing I should do probably? Taking it out of my house, right? So that's step 1. What would be, step 2? When I go and visit you, I might say also to you, can you do me a favor and let's not discuss chocolate, right? Or right? So and I'm going to start to make barriers around myself to keep me within the parameter of this vow that I'm making. So I'm purposely making it very complicated because it's complicated. So I'm doing it on purpose. Yes?
How about replacing it with something else?
Like?
That's exactly what they're saying. Don't even come close.
Right, don't even come close. Or you're saying like make it close to chocolate? So like a, I don't know, what's a change to chocolate? What's that? Carobs, thank you. So yeah, don't even have carobs near you because carobs will make you think of the fact that it's kind of like chocolatey and then you're gonna, or like a cow or anything like that. Like you don't want any of that. You don't want to go near that tree even. It's gonna bring you into this possibility of breaking your vow. Yeah.
Bob pointed out, they use the illustration here, they say like vinegar, wine vinegar, the opposite.
Yeah.
You must keep it separate because again, it's a vow, it's much more than a promise. So it's got to be absolute.
Yeah. And nice job with absolute. You tied in a bit of vodka in there too. That was very nice of you. Oh, I understand. So, yes. Aha. Interesting. So great question. Is it, yeah?
Verse 4 says about the term.
Aha. Correct. So you can also make your term. So you can say I'm making a life vow, meaning I'm swearing off chocolate. For instance, and I usually make fun of you about this, but here's a perfect example, right? You necessarily don't have to not eat gluten, but you have found in your life it's better for you, it's healthier for you. So you probably made yourself a kind of personal vow to say, I'm not eating gluten because it's a bad idea for me, right? It's not even necessary, because some people have, are not allowed to eat gluten. You probably could if you wanted to, but you know that in your life it's bad for you. Like we joke all the time, but that's true, right? So so he made a life vow. I can decide, like someone just prior to a wedding or prior to a big event, you decide I want to lose weight or I want to get tan or like I want to whatever I need to do for this one event. But then after the event, no, forget it. I can't wait to go back to eat to whatever I was eating before or to not worry about my tan because there's a little window. Yes? No, because this is a personal. So Samson is where we're going. Well done. So we're going to go to Samson in a second. So hold on to Samson, because Samson is coming. And he is the best example and the worst example. Samson. Yes? You're saying not to give either of those up? No, you don't have to. That's right. I would not pick those, by the way, as my two favorites. I would not. Those are not things that I would pick for a Nazarite law. So, however, there is this term. Now let's go to the term vow. What's the term? What's the term for vow in Hebrew? Can you see it? It's in verse 2. It's in verse 2. It's 4 words. It's 4 words away from the end of verse 2. So 4 words away from verse 3. Neder. So neder is vow. What word do we know that has the word neder in it? Everyone knows the word. Everyone. I promise. I promise you know the word neder. Put a yud at the end of it. Nidre. So, what do we know that sounds like nidre? Kol nidre. What's kol nidre? All my vows. So it is one of the greatest Jewish loophole of all Jewish loopholes, because every time we start Yom Kippur, literally when we start Yom Kippur, the first thing we say to God is, of all the promises that I made, please excuse them as I begin this new year. That's what Kol Nidre is, the big, please excuse my vows loophole. Literally, we stand there at the beginning of our fast, still full, because we just ate, right? So we're still full, and we ask God to clean up all of the vows we might have asked for the year, so that we can start new ones and maybe go down this path and either fulfill them or not fulfill them, like we usually do, or we don't, because we're bad at this, or we're good at this. It depends on how serious we are about our vow. So, okay. Now, there's more to the process, though. So let's say I'm still with the chocolate. Let's say I told myself I'm not having, my vow is I'm off chocolate. The first thing I can't do is what? I can't have anything with grapes, right? Let's keep going. Now we're on verse 5.
Throughout the term of their vow as Nazarite, no razor shall touch their head. It shall remain consecrated until the completion of their term as Nazarite of the Eternal, the hair of their head being left to grow untrimmed.
Okay, there's number 2. So now I can't have chocolate, right? Because that's my choice. Now I can't have grapes because I'm in the deal. And what's part 2 of the deal? You can't cut your hair. Can't cut your hair. So now Samson starts to play a role in this. Okay, right? And now let's just...
Rabbi, may I ask a question?
Yes. Go ahead.
If a Nazarite makes a vow not to, say, eat chocolate, doesn't there have to be some like intention? Like maybe he didn't like chocolate, but he says, "I'm not going to eat chocolate. That's easy for me. A vow for me not to break." So does there have to be some intention for the vow to be something that is going to be meaningful to you not to have?
Well, remember it says setting yourself apart for the eternal. What is the connection between, chocolate or wine? Like, there have to be specific things. It can't be a vow of randomness.
It sounds like that would really be falsifying something, to say that you give something up that you don't want anyway, pretending and can't provide.
Okay. Nice. Yes? No, we shouldn't be, but it's easier for the conversation. Yes. Well, it's going to get elevated in a moment, I promise. I brought it to the mundane for the purpose of getting through the section. We're going to elevate it in a second. You are correct. Your discomfort of the mundane is understood. Yes. Good. So did that partially answer your question, Jay? No.
I wasn't able to hear what Bob was saying.
Bob's main concern is that we're making chocolate into the mundane conversation of an elevated topic of Nazarite law. But I'm just using it as a poor example. But that was his comment. Did you hear Robin's comment though?
Yes, I did.
All right. Okay. So did that help a little? And also Marcia?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Good. I didn't have to do anything. Thank you. Thank you, Owl, for translating everything. That was very nice. That's good. So, all right. What's the third part? We're on verse 9. The third part of the deal. There are 3 parts.
You want to go to 9?
Yep. 9.
Okay. 9. If someone dies suddenly nearby, defiling the consecrated hair, the Nazarite shall shave the head at the time of becoming pure, shaving it on the 7th day.
Okay. So I'm speeding us up because it's also the third deal is, so the first thing is you can't have anything with grapes. The second thing you can't cut your hair, and the third thing is you can't be near anything that's died. You can't even be near like a bird that dies or even roadkill. Someone who takes on this role, if you touch it and you become unclean, your vow breaks in the same way. So those are the 3 parts to the Nazarite vow. You're not allowed. Yeah.
I just had a question on that because my English translation says person. So why would that be? Why would that count for animals as well?
Yes.
And would that count for like flowers too?
No. So it's anything, any living thing, as in terms of an animal or a person. The text says person, and then later, when the Nazarite laws get more built, it comes into any living creature. Yeah, Bob. Dr. Bob. Let's differentiate for everyone who's listening. Yes. They are not exempt from war because they can avoid, it's something already dead. So they can avoid it if they need to, right? Hypothetically. That's not,
And what's their purpose of being in a war?
right. Well,
They can't kill or protect or...
what doesn't say you can't kill anything? It says that you can't be around, it's not dead. Something that's already dead, I'm saying. It has to be not dying, dead, meaning that you come up to something and it is dead. So if you come across something that's been sitting there and it is clearly dead and you touch it, then you become contaminated according to Nazarite law. I don't write the stuff.
How does by shaving their head make you no longer make
Because this idea also that hair created some level of uncleanliness because they didn't know how to clean hair properly, right? They didn't have shampoo. Yes.
Go back to this idea about war doesn't kill people.
Yes.
I don't get it.
What do you mean?
Dr. Bob asked the question.
Yes.
Can they go to war?
Yes.
Okay, go to war, you're going to fight, somebody's going to die.
Yes.
Okay, how can they go to war and kill people? People are dying, and then keep the vow that they're not going to do anything to die. So they're dead.
You just can't go near them.
But you're right next to them.
Not if they're,
They're fighting with swords, you know.
yeah. So then probably someone who has taken a Nazarite law. Yeah, exactly. Someone who's taken a Nazarite law might not be engaged in, might choose not to go to war, or might not be able to go to war, or might not take their vow. Don't forget, this is a personal vow. So you also, it's not put upon you. I'm not telling you that you have to take on this vow. It's not something that I'm telling you to do. This is why I like this conversation, because it's not easy. Yes, Katya. Ah, yes. It's complicated. You get contaminated. The same way that a high priest does. A high priest really can't go near any dead body because they lose their purity status. That's something different as well, unless it's someone that's close to you. Yes.
I thought it was just the Kohens, not the Levites.
Kohen, just Kohen. You're right. You're correct. Just the priests. The priests and the Kohanim. Yeah, just same. Yeah, just the priests. Yeah.
Going like to Katya's question, I was going to ask, do they separate themselves
Who?
before taking vows?
Not necessarily. Depends on the vow. Depends on the vow, right? It's your personal choice to take on this vow, which by the way, which is why, yeah, you go ahead.
What is the vow?
It's whatever you want it to be.
And whatever that is, that sets you apart for the eternal.
Yes. I promise. So, I don't know. Let's make it a little more elevated from chocolate. So let's say that I don't know, that someone survives something very, very dangerous, and they decide from now on I promise to donate money or take an action or do something to fulfill something or a void in my life, and I'm taking on this vow to do it. And so now I take on this vow, and I'm going to do it for 3 years, or for 1 year, or for the rest of my life. So when I take on this vow, it's very personal, and because I take on this vow, and it's a vow that I make between me and God, or me and someone else. By the way, we haven't even gotten to the vows of someone else. That gets even more complicated, because I can make a vow to you. Now I have a bigger issue too about a vow. That's not a Nazarite vow. It's a separate vow. But there's a whole section of other vows that also exist. Yes?
So I'm going to go back to this war issue.
Yes.
So if a Nazarite goes to war
Yes.
and murder, death is going to be there,
Yes.
he breaks his vow not to be around someone dead.
Yes.
Go make an offering then
Yes. They have to go and clean this up. Yes.
to clean up the break of his vow.
Correct. And then they can either reinstate it, or they can decide not to reinstate it and then just have the vow be broken.
So they mitigate the violation of the vow by making it law.
Hypothetically, yes, hypothetically. So, yes, now, and then in a minute we're going to go to Samson, yes.
Just a little nervous about it. Nazarite vow is a consecration of your life.
Yes,
That's a Nazarite vow.
yes,
So that's why you don't have any contamination because your hair can absorb, and your hair belongs to God.
right,
So you don't want to put yourself in a position where you can be contaminated or you should be involved in all those other things.
yes,
That's why this very much looks at
yes. So here's how we'll completely elevate it, and we'll use the example of Samson. So, unfortunately, Samson's mother has no name. Her name is Manoah's wife. That is her name in the Bible. So Manoah's wife can't have any children. What does that mean for us? She's going to have a son. Exactly, right. Thank you. That's the biblical system, right? If a woman is barren and can't have children, right, what are the big three? She's going to have a kid. It's going to be a boy. He's going to be famous, right? That's the biblical ruling. So Manoah's wife is barren and has no kids. Automatically, that means the big three. And she has a child. She has a boy. That boy is Samson. Aha. Now, in that praying, in the language, if we open the book of Judges, which we are not going to right now, but I promise you it's in there, she makes a Nazarite vow. And so she makes a Nazarite vow and she says, if you give me a child, I will commit myself and my child to the rules of the Nazarite law. And so because of that, Samson was not allowed to cut his hair. Samson was not allowed to drink any intoxicant drink. And he was not allowed to be near anything dead. However, if you know the Samson story, Samson was not a great guy in some instances. And he chose to drink wine all the time. And he chose to sometimes, there's one particular section where he comes across a dead carcass and eats from it, even though he knows he's not supposed to. And then there's the whole thing about Samson and Delilah, right? And Delilah is paid by the Philistines to go and find his weakness. And he lies to her several times, and finally she suggests to him to give him the truth. It's a very adult story, actually. And he finally discloses and says, my strength is in my hair. And when she cuts his hair, and he drinks the intoxicant, and he drinks the carcass, it's as if the vow is broken completely. And that's why some say he loses his strength. And that's the story of Samson, because his mom, Manoah's wife, unfortunately has no name, although the rabbis give her a name later, which is a bad name, called Hatzlaponit. It's not a very good name. It's a terrible name, but it's the name that they give her. It's a bad name. I have no idea. It's actually there's a issue. If this stuff interests you, by the way, there's a book called the Legend of the Jews, and it actually talks to you about all these little missing components on stories and names of people that we don't know. It also names Noach's wife, because Noach's wife has no name. Her name is Noach's wife. So they name her. Her name is much better. It's Naamah. So that's her name that they give her. But there's the quintessential real example of what truly a Nazarite law means, is that, and that's the level it's supposed to be at, where she is literally praying to God and says, I will commit myself, my whole life, and the whole life of my child, if you give me a child, into this Nazarite law, which he does not fulfill. And he gets punished for it, by the way. So, yes. Too late.
So you can endow somebody else?
In that situation, only if they're unborn, hypothetically, which puts them into that situation as well. By the way, it's the only one that I know of is Samson that does that. So it works out, right, it doesn't work out too well. I mean, it works out partially well because he kind of wins at the end, but he what's that? I don't think that's...
Not if you made a Nazarite vow.
No, I mean, I don't think that it goes that far. I mean, I don't think it takes it to that level. I think it stops at the simple concept of the Nazarite law. I don't think it goes into the larger view of that. Now, going back to end our complicated conversation, to go back to the concept of vows, is that even to this day, by the way, someone who's a little more traditional, by the way, says, if you have a standing meeting, let's say you meet your friend every Tuesday for lunch at 12:30, when they leave each other, they usually say, like we would say to each other, see you next week at 12:30, right? But a more traditional person might say, see you next week at 12:30, bli neder, without a vow. I'm not vowing to you that I'm going to be there because I don't want to entangle us in the complication of what a vow means. Literally, people will say that, even for the most mundane things. Bli neder. See you tomorrow, bli neder. See you next week, bli neder. It's kind of God willing. It's also, I'm personally not going to entangle us in this very high level of what a vow means, because a vow clearly is so huge. Look, we just spent all this time about it, and we only hit the tip of the iceberg. So I'm not going to even web us into that issue. I'm just going to say bli neder. No vow. I'll see you next week, but I'm not vowing. Yes.
I hear the word vow.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Although the structure of a Jewish, the ketubah, it doesn't have the word neder in it. It doesn't say, there's no vows necessarily. It's a different construct. It's a construct that's based on holiness, not on vows.
But there are vows recited.
There are vows recited, but it's really only but it's still different because the vows we say under the chuppah are harei at mekudeshet li, like you are consecrated to me by this ring, under the auspices essentially by the connection of God and Torah and Moses, right? That's right. But there's really no. The vow concept that our weddings is a secular wedding thing that we're like your wedding vows where you read them and you say like all that stuff. That's not under the chuppah. Really, all you do is say you put a ring on the index finger because it's the closest the rabbis thought to your heart, and you say harei at mekudeshet li b'tabat zo kadat Moshe v'Yisrael. With this ring, you are hereby consecrated to me. In the rights of Moses and Israel. That's it. Ta-da! That's the whole thing. So I'm even careful to say, by the way, when I do a wedding, I actually say harei at mekudeshet, the word li, because li means to me. So when I do a wedding, I have the groom say li. I don't say li because they're not consecrated to me. So I'm even right. So they're consecrated to each other. So I even go out a step further and say, no, not li, the word li, because you're going to say it to her or to him. So, yeah. So that's, yeah. Yes. Do you feel better?
I really love this.
All right, good.
It really comes down to one word, and that word is covenant. You say it. So you should stand by it.
Mm-hmm.
This is, a lot of people say,
Yeah.
This one, you just have to do this little aside, because I have no other place that can do this. When it comes to the caveat, see you,
Yeah.
okay, be the good Lord willing and the sweet Lord.
Nice. Exactly. It's the same thing. It's the same concept. So look, I mean, there are the business people in the room, or business people. Like what it used to be, particularly like in the shtetl, you shook hands and it was done. I promise you, I'm going to deliver. I'm shaking your hand, and you know what? If you broke that, it was the end. It was the end of the world. You could not do that. We don't live by that anymore. Now there's a 53-page document you have to sign, right? Do you still have to sign it? How many pages do you have to sign every time you deal with a thing, Harry? Yeah. Hundreds of pages. Yeah, right? Because, okay, see? So, those days are gone, that handshake. We're like, I just trust you because your word to me, your word to me is 10 times more important than anything else. Great. Yeah. It depends. It depends. It depends how we operate. It depends who we trust. It depends who we deal with, right? But yeah. So, lastly, for a minute, let's just go to the section that Cantor chanted. So we're still in chapter 6. Just go to 22. So still in chapter 6, verse 22. Can't leave this Torah portion without mentioning this.
The Eternal One spoke to Moses, "Speak to Aaron and his sons, thus shall you bless the people of Israel. Say to them, the Eternal bless you and protect you. The Eternal deal kindly and graciously with you. The Eternal bestow divine favor upon you and grant you peace. Thus they shall link my name with the people of Israel, and I will bless you."
Yeah. How great is that? That's the priestly blessing. Yes. That's the and how beautiful that we don't even think about 27, verse 27, right? But that's what the link is. Like that's why this blessing is so powerful, because thus they will link my name. Like that's why God is going to be established in the blessing. Like God's going to dwell in the blessing that you share amongst yourselves. That when you bless someone with those words, it's as if God is sprinkling God's self into that blessing, into that moment with you, which is why the priestly blessing is such a big deal and why we use it at very incredible, important, beautiful moments in our lives, because that's what it's for.
Rabbi?
Yes.
I just had a question about, it's why here? Why is it here? Because we just went through this whole thing with the Nazarites, and we kind of skipped over the sacrificing part.
Yes.
of how to fix it. But then all of a sudden we just get hit with this really important, really special thing out of nowhere. It just doesn't seem to make sense here. Why here?
It's a great question. I don't have an immediate answer. I'm not sure. I suppose it's underneath the section of oaths, maybe the concept of an oath and the level of the level of the sanctity of that, and that this is where this goes. I'm not sure. It's a great question. That's something I can look up.
Could it be viewed as God's oath to us?
Could be. That's beautiful.
Oh, I like that. Wow.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That maybe that's where. Yeah. You can go. Thanks. And thanks for coming. Yeah. So, just in the nick of time, exactly. So, I'll show you another really cool thing. I don't know if it's is it in your text that it's in 3 different lines? Yeah. Okay. So, if you had a pencil, like you were doing a crossword puzzle. Sometimes in crossword puzzles, words are on a diagonal, You know, sometimes they go straight across, sometimes they're down, sometimes they're on a diagonal. So if you imagine you had an imaginary pencil, and you look at the Hebrew, and you took, so look at verse 24, at the Hebrew of 24, and you look, there are 3 words on 24, right? Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, right? So take the middle word, which is Adonai, right? Okay, so you would start your diagonal circle there. So start making your diagonal circle down, and you would go next to 25. Right, so go one more word, which is panav. So if you went down with your diagonal, so there's panav, and then if you go to 26, Isa Adonai panav, and then keep going one more, elecha, it's almost as if structurally it just says Adonai panav elecha. It's almost a summary to say that God's face is upon you, even internally in the way that you're reading this, the way if you look at it diagonally. That's a physical drash that I saw once, someone taught me. So not only are you doing this blessing, but if you take it diagonally, it also says, Adonai panav elecha, God's face is upon you, even amidst the fact that you're doing it or that you're part of it. There's another level of it. So it's very powerful. It's very powerful, and it's the priestly blessing is one of my. It's not. I think I get a little emotional every time we engage in a priestly blessing, because it is always at like this juncture of this incredibly powerful juncture. It always is, no matter what. No matter what. Even right. Like what's the most quote? What's the most times that we do it? Like what's the most frequent? What's the most frequent time that we do the priestly blessing? What? Shabbat dinner, right? Every Friday night, right? And when does it occur? What is that? Always. Oh no, right on the holiest day. When Friday night do we do it? At the beginning, when you bless your kids. In what order? Before dinner, but what happens when you start Shabbat? What's the first thing you do to start Shabbat? And then what? And then this. Right? So, then the priestly blessing. So, literally, you sanctify Shabbat, and you bless your kids. And you bless your kids with this, Someone talking? Am I imagining things? Yeah. Harry, and then Amy. Yeah. No, not Harry. You're Ron. Ron, and then Amy.
Coming from where I've learned a lot about this stuff, at the end of each sentence of the Yireh, you say, Cain Yehirat son.
Yeah.
How come you never do it here? I've never heard it.
I think it's for a communal. I think that's done when you do it for communally, like for a congregation. I think if you're doing it to a human, I don't think that they necessarily have to do it, because you're giving it to them, if that makes sense. Right. Now, I understand. If we were blessing congregationally, like if Yevarechecha is a congregation, then the congregation responds Ken Yehi Ratzon. I think if you're placing your hands on someone and it's literally one-on-one, I don't know if they're necessarily need to respond Ken Yehi Ratzon. I think they can.
Oftentimes when this prayer is said for the congregation, it's in a repetition of something, and that's also something we don't necessarily do here. It's usually found in the repetition of the Musaf.
Mm-hmm.
Recite the entire Musaf out loud with the entire congregation. You get to this part, and you say, and everyone says,
Ken Yehi Ratzon, because it's congregational. So, it's more, So that would happen, by the way, every single Shabbat, if we were not Reformed. So every conservative and Orthodox service has it already built in. So yes. Sorry, Amy and Duchening, which we don't do, which I can't even do because I'm only doing one thing. Yeah. I'm not a Kohen. I can't do it. I can only do one hand. I can't do it with this thing. I can't do it with this. It doesn't work with this. Oh, I can. Hey, look at that. I did it. It's not very good though. I'm all like, Amy.
2 things.
Yes.
First, how do you say priestly blessings in Hebrew?
Birkat Kohanim, or Birkat Birkat Kohanim. It's actually called, the priestly blessing. Birkat Kohanim. Birkat HaKohanim. Blessing of the priests.
And secondly, I was thinking throughout the whole conversation, who's keeping track and accounting? One is fulfillment of the vow, and one's term. And I think you answered it, that it's individual responsibility, and then Yom Kippur is the great judgment.
Right. Yeah. It's on you. It's one of these complicated things that it's just you. So it's tough. Sometimes it's really tough because it's always like, I'm gonna, if you're fasting and you're like, I'm just gonna cheat and have some water. Okay. Right? Or if you're, or people who died are like, I'm just gonna cheat. No, you're not cheating. Who are you cheating? I mean, enjoy. Like if you don't eat, if you want to eat. Like no one's keeping you from it. Right? It's all internal. Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's the big, serious one. The opposite end is, they tell you what, I'm going to give a shot.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's the opposite one. Then we have 21, verse 21. It says, "This is the obligation of a Nazarite, except that those who vow an offering to the eternal what they can afford beyond their Nazarite requirements must do exactly according to the vow that they have made beyond their obligation as Nazarites." This is in the category to me. I swear to God, that is a really serious thing. You said, I swear to God, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
The difference between chocolate
Yeah. Oh, it also puts in the complication of not even able to say that word, to say that phrase either, because it's in the Ten Commandments, right? I mean, so that's even more complicated, right? Are we? And that's, by the way, if we say that and don't mean it, you're breaking the third commandment because it's taking God's name in vain, right? So that complicates things also. So if you are going to say I swear to God, right, and you don't, then not only are you falling in this weird category of the vow thing that we just fell into, but we are also, what's that? You're breaking the Ten Commandments, which is also a big deal. So the third commandment, yeah, don't take something big. Hey, now you can do it with the thing. Now you can do it. I'm so happy you're here physically to be able to do that, Harry. Yes, Ron. Let's end with your comment. Yes. That's a long time. Oh, that's my papers. Yeah. It's a big question. I'm nervous. Yes. Yeah.
And we would say, and being that we are all made in God's image, and being made in His image, we are also priestly. We're being able to bestow on neighbors that blessing, and it's just a very warm feeling.
Yeah.
So is this something that could be adopted here?
I think it might be able to be adopted in certain special moments. I'm not sure that the congregation is prepared for that. It's also not necessarily in the liturgy for us to follow along because it doesn't fit. It's not in here. So I'm not sure. I love the idea, but this was a Reconstructionist congregation. Yeah. So yeah. So
Where this all came from.
yeah. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We can talk about it.
So what he noticed when he was in the synagogue in Spain was that as soon as they came to the part of the blessing, the priestly blessing, the kids who were all playing outside would know exactly the time that this was going to happen, and they'd all rush into the synagogue and get under their fathers.
It's nice. Yeah. It's nice. I mean, it's something that happened at conservative synagogues as well. It's just, again, not necessarily built into our system, but it's nice for us to discuss.
Israel, they do something called davening
Mm-hmm.
every Shabbat, and that's when the Kohanim come up on Bima or wherever it might be. They cover themselves, and they do this, and then it's the cantor will say a word, and the first word, Yivarech, and then all the Kohanim will say the Yivarech, and doing this very melodic chant, and they do word by word by word to bless the entire congregation. But that's just not something that is incorporated,
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there? No, I wasn't. So, thank you for the conversation, for the complicated conversation, because it's a complicated conversation. But thank you for the complicated conversation. We're still amidst the Torah service, so we're going to think of those in our community who are in need of healing, a physical. What? We'll do Mishberach. Hi guys, we'll do Mishberach with you guys, okay? And then we'll switch back to live stream. Was it weird to switch back and forth, by the way? Owl people? Hello?
Yeah, I mean, it's fine either way.
Okay, great. Okay, so we'll think of those who are in need of healing, a physical, emotional, or spiritual healing. If there's someone you're thinking of and want to share their name, please share their name at this time.
Shelley Anderson.
The Craven family.
משבח אבותינו ואמותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, וברך את החולים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, מלא רחמים עליהם, להחלימם ולפותם ולהחזיקם, וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, השתה בגלה בזמן קריב, ונאמר, אמן. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Becca, Rachel, and Leah, bless those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion, for their health be restored and their strength be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, as together we say, Amen. How was the owl experience? Could you hear most of us? Could you hear most of it?
We could hear people who were closer to you and people who were further back.
But it was very nice. It was a great first experience doing it, and I think it has a lot of promise.
Oh, good.
And it's nice being far away from home and just being able to connect.
Yay. All right, good. Yay. I think there's 2 right now.
Yeah.
Just two for today. I think it's also confusing. We'll have to send out. I know what happened. I think we didn't make it clear. We said that it was available in person, live, and on the live and on Zoom. And I think that we have to specify that Zoom only during Torah study. I think we have to specify that. I bet people logged onto the Zoom and they couldn't get on for the first part of the service and then never came back. So we'll have to fix that. So, all right, owl people, we're turning off the owl.
But before you do, I just wanted to say that the question was how many people are on there. So it's not, in this case, it's not quantity, it's quality.
Indeed, indeed, very much so.
If he does say so himself.
But and Ian also, Ian, of course. No, I'm bringing this room down. down.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom,
Bye,
everybody.
guys.
Bye. All right, and the lights went off on the owl eyes. Look at this. Look at this technology and everything. All right. Look at us. All right, we're going to be, a couple of announcements that this is our new structure. So services are at 6:30 on Friday nights in perpetuity for now. This will be having our in-person, our streaming, and our Zooming until August 20th. We'll be having this. Then we'll update you on the next round of timing and how we're going to do it. And we have a bunch of events happening throughout the month of July. So every Thursday of July, we're going to have a program, a CBI program. So 2 of them are going to take place in the afternoons, like at the lunch and learn window, and 2 of them are going to take place in the evenings. So there are going to be 4 different things in the month of July, all on Thursdays. So you should come. I know one is a sisterhood thing, I think, in the afternoon. Yeah, to make blankets and to have lunch. One is an evening program to go bowling, a congregational bowling night. One is a lunch and learn with us. That's the first one. That's the first one in July. And then there's one more that I can't remember. There's a bowling. There's one. And we're missing an evening one. There are 2 evening ones. Oh, there's a movie. Yeah, there's an outdoor movie. We're going to blow up the screen and have popcorn and sit outside under the tent and we're going to show a big movie and have snacks and movie snacks and popcorn. Yeah, for us to. If it's really boiling, we're going to do it inside. But there's a nighttime movie, and we're going to see a cool movie called Defending Your Life. If you've not seen it. It's a really cool life with Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep. So it's a very, 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 very good movie. So that's the 4th one. Those are the 4. I don't remember the order. I know the first one's us, and then I can't remember. Then the other 3. So yeah. So those are the announcements. Okay, we're going to begin to conclude our service. Aleinu, page 282, and together we stand.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המולם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו echad.
As we transition now to Kaddish Tom, we think of those in the period of Shloshim, the immediate 30-day mourning period: Doris Gold, Margot Engel, Norman Stolak. And our yortzeits that occur for us this week: Esther Berman, Benjamin Brager, Charles Brager, Max Davis, Sorrel Egglestein, Myra Fine, Therese Harris, Florence Janis, Ellen Kasten, Naomi Katz, Samuel Klein, Edwin S. Newman, Joseph Peretz, Erwin Reich, Aaron Rosen, Seymour Rosenbaum, Morel Rubin, Dorothy Shear, Eileen Shestak, Donna Siegel, Theodore Siegel, David Silverman, Helen Skillman, Pauline Smith, Stanley Smith, Mildred Strom, Stanley Tamber, Hyman Tanzer, Donald Young. To those names, we had any name that you'd like to add at this time?
Dr. Ira Weiss and Rabbi Solomon Gunstein.
Kadisha Tom 294. Yitkadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah, ba'almad ivra chirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולבני עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאה ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדה ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי לקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel. Together we say, Amen. Please be seated. We conclude on this Shabbat morning with
Adon Olam.
Adon Olam, 322, I think. I think it's 322.
321.
321.
Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra le'nasa v'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra v'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora v'hu haya v'hu hove v'hu yeh b'tifara La 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 ya 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 la 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 והוא אחד ואין שני להשילו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה והוא אלי וחי גואלי וצור חבלי בעת צרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום מקרא Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 בידו אפקיד רוחי בעת ישן והעירה ועם רוחי גבייתי אדוני לי ולא אירא Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Adonai oz lamo yiten ravarech et amo v'shalom. May God give strength unto our people to bless us with hope and strength and love and peace. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.